Hello, little dreamers. Welcome back to Dream Desk Bedtime Stories. Tonight, we are going back to Lumi's Lucky Shop, the little magical shop in the middle of the city. The candles are glowing softly. The shelves are full of warm lights and gentle charms. Beast is watching by the window. Lion is curled up somewhere soft and golden. And tonight, someone very small and very brave is going to come into the shop with a secret worry, a worry that grows in the dark, a worry that hides under the bed, a worry that makes nighttime feel big and bathrooms feel far away, and little hearts beat too fast. So snuggle into your blanket, take a gentle breath in, and let's begin. It was early evening in the city, not fully dark yet, but the sky had begun to turn that soft blue-gray color that comes just before night. The shop windows glowed warmly against the dimming street. Tiny lamps flickered like stars along Lumi's shelves. A moon-shaped lantern shone near the counter. The kettle hummed sleepily, and the whole shop smelled like vanilla, warm milk, lavender, and clean cotton blankets. Lumi liked this part of the evening very much. It was the in-between time, not daytime, not night. The time when tired people slowed down. The time when some children became quiet. The time when worries sometimes grew louder. Beast was sitting on the front mat near the door, looking as if he were guarding the whole street. Lion was draped across a cushion like melted sunshine, his paws hanging over the edge in the most dramatic way possible. Lumi was arranging a row of tiny nightlights on the shelf by the window. There were round ones that glowed pale gold, star ones that twinkled blue, one shaped like a tiny cloud, and one shaped like a sleeping moon. She picked up the moon one and smiled. "That one always looks like it knows a secret," she murmured. Just then, the bell over the shop door rang. Ting. Lumi turned. In the doorway stood a child holding tightly to a grown-up's hand. The child was small, maybe 6 or 7 years old, with a round face, tired eyes, and hair that looked like it had been brushed, but only after much effort. He wore a striped jumper and soft trousers, and he was leaning slightly against the grown-up beside him. The grown-up was a woman in a navy coat with kind eyes and a very gentle, tired face. She bent down and whispered something to the child. The child nodded, but only a tiny bit. Lumi smiled warmly. "Hello," she said. The woman smiled back, though she looked a little unsure. "Hello," she said quietly. "I hope it's all right that we came in." "Of course," said Lumi. "You are very welcome here." The child looked around the shop, but not with curiosity. Not yet. He looked the way children look when they are afraid someone might already know the embarrassing thing they came to talk about. Lumi noticed that right away. She always noticed careful faces. The woman gave the child's hand a little squeeze. "This is Noah," she said softly, "and I'm his auntie, Mira." Lumi nodded. "Hello, Noah." "Hello, Auntie Mira." Noah whispered, "Hello," very quietly. So quietly it was almost hidden. Lion lifted his head from the cushion and blinked at the new visitors. Beast stood up at once and came closer, not too close, just enough to investigate. Noah noticed Beast first. His eyes widened a little. "He looks serious," Noah whispered. "He is serious," Lumi said, "but only about important things." Noah looked down at Beast again. "What kind of important things?" Lumi bent her head as if thinking deeply. Doors, feelings, blankets, possibly biscuits. Auntie Mira gave a tiny laugh, and to Lumi's delight, the smallest smile flickered over Noah's face before disappearing again. That was often how it began. One tiny smile, one tiny crack in the worry. Lumi came around the counter. "There's a chair by the lamp if you'd like to sit," she said. Auntie Mira nodded and guided Noah over to the little chair near the soft yellow lamp. Noah climbed into it carefully. Not relaxed, not yet. More like he was trying to stay small. Auntie Mira sat beside him. Lion stretched, jumped off the cushion, and padded over with sleepy dignity. Without asking anyone's permission, he curled up by Noah's feet. Noah looked down. Lion placed one golden paw gently on top of Noah's slipper. Noah stared. "He does that," Lumi said. Noah didn't answer, but one of his shoulders dropped a tiny bit. That was good. Lumi sat on a stool nearby. For a moment, no one said anything. The shop glowed softly around them. The moon lantern shone near the counter. Outside, the evening sky deepened. Inside, the warm little silence waited. At last, Auntie Mira spoke. "Noah has had a hard few nights." Lumi nodded gently. Noah stared down at his hands. Auntie Mira went on carefully, choosing every word softly. "He's been feeling frightened at bedtime." Noah's mouth tightened. Lumi understood at once that this was not easy for him to hear said out loud. So, she said nothing. She only waited kindly. After a while, Noah whispered without looking up, "There's something under my bed." Lumi's face stayed soft and calm. She said quietly. Noah glanced up, almost surprised she had not laughed or said no at once. "At night," he added, "when the room gets dark." Lumi nodded again. "What kind of something?" Noah swallowed. "A monster." The word came out fast and small. Auntie Mira rubbed his back slowly. Lumi did not rush. She had learned that when children said monster, they did not always mean monster in the same way. Sometimes they meant a shadow. Sometimes a creak. Sometimes the shape of a chair with clothes on it. Sometimes a fear with no shape at all. "What does the monster do?" Lumi asked gently. Noah's voice dropped. "I think it waits." The shop became very quiet. Even Beast sat down and listened. "It waits," Lumi repeated softly. Noah nodded. "For what?" "For me to put my feet on the floor." Ah, there it was, the true center of the fear. Not just under the bed, the floor. The space between the bed and the bathroom. The dark stretch that felt dangerous once nighttime came. Noah twisted the hem of his jumper. "So when I need the toilet," he whispered, "I don't go." Auntie Mira closed her eyes just briefly, the way grown-ups do when something hurts them because they love someone. Lumi's heart softened right away. Noah rushed on, suddenly as if the words had been locked up and now were all tumbling out. "I try to wait until morning, or until the sun comes, or until someone wakes up, but sometimes I can't." His cheeks turned pink, then red, and then "I make mistakes." The last words came out almost as a whisper. Noah looked down so fast it was as if his face wanted to hide from itself. Auntie Mira's arm came around him immediately. "Oh, sweetheart," she said softly. But Noah had gone very still. Lumi knew that stillness too. It was the stillness of shame, the heavy, hiding kind. The kind children feel when they think something is wrong with them instead of simply difficult for them. Lumi leaned forward just a little. "Noah," she said quietly, "thank you for telling the true thing." Noah looked up. Only a little. His eyes were wet and embarrassed. "I don't like it," he whispered. "I know," Lumi said. "It's babyish." Lumi shook her head gently at once. "No." Noah blinked. "It's frightened," she said softly. "That is not the same thing." The room stayed quiet. Auntie Mira let out a breath that sounded almost like relief. Noah stared at Lumi as if he was trying to decide whether he could believe her. Lumi kept her face calm and kind. "Sometimes," she said, "when children feel scared in the night, their bodies get confused, their thoughts get loud, their feet feel stuck, their tummy feels tight, their heart goes thump, 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 and then everything becomes harder." Noah's eyes widened a little. "That happens." "I thought so," Lumi said. He looked down at Lion's paw on his slipper. "Sometimes I need the toilet really, really bad," he admitted. "But I still can't move." "That sounds very uncomfortable," Lumi said gently. Noah nodded. "And then in the morning," he stopped. Auntie Mira stroked his hair. You don't have to say every part, she said softly. But Noah surprised both of them by whispering, I feel bad when the bed is wet. The words fell into the quiet room like tiny, heavy stones. Lumi's heart ached for him, not because the problem was strange, because it wasn't strange at all, because so many children felt afraid at night, because so many children thought they were the only one, because embarrassment was such a lonely feeling when you were small. Lumi stood slowly. I think, she said, we need to make a night safety plan. Noah looked up. A plan? Lumi nodded. A very gentle one, for monsters, dark rooms, nighttime feet, and brave trips to the bathroom. For the first time, Noah looked interested. Just a little. Even a worried child can be curious about a plan, especially if the plan sounds magical. Lumi went to a tall shelf near the back and took down 3 things. A tiny lantern shaped like a moon, a little pouch tied with silver string, and a long, pale ribbon wrapped around a wooden card. She brought them over carefully and laid them on the table. Noah leaned forward in his chair. What are those? Lumi pointed first to the moon lantern. This is a night step light, she said. It glows softly enough to keep the dark from feeling too big. Noah stared at it. It's warm-colored, he said. Yes, Lumi said, because warm light is kinder to sleepy eyes. Then she lifted the silver pouch. This is a bedside brave pouch. Noah blinked. What's in it? Lumi opened it carefully. Inside was a smooth silver pebble, a tiny folded card, and a pinch of lavender sealed in cloth. The silver pebble, Lumi explained, is for holding when your heart goes too fast. She placed it in Noah's hand. It was cool, smooth, and just heavy enough to feel real. Noah curled his fingers around it. The folded card, Lumi went on, has a night sentence on it. She opened the card and showed him. In tiny blue writing, it said, "The floor is just the floor. The dark is only dark. My feet can take me safely." Noah read it very slowly. Then again, his lips moved quietly over the words. Lumi smiled. That sentence is not loud magic, she said. It is remembering magic. Noah looked at it for a long moment. Then Lumi lifted the final cloth-wrapped thing inside the pouch. And this lavender bundle is for smelling when fear gets too big. Noah sniffed it cautiously. His face changed. That smells sleepy. Yes, Lumi said. Sleepy, safe, and calm. Finally, she touched the long, pale ribbon. This, she said, is the moon path ribbon. Noah stared. The what? The moon path ribbon, Lumi repeated with proper seriousness. You place it beside the bed, along the floor, pointing toward the bathroom. Noah's eyes widened. So I know where to go? Yes, Lumi said. And because it glows just a tiny bit in the dark, it reminds your feet that there is a path. Auntie Mira leaned in. That is lovely. Lumi nodded. It is best used with a grown-up at first. Noah looked at his auntie. Auntie Mira smiled at once. I can help. Noah's hands tightened around the silver pebble. What if the monster still waits? There it was again. The deep question. The one not solved by a ribbon alone. Lumi thought carefully. Then she said, I think we should talk about the monster properly. Noah sat very still. Beast jumped lightly onto the stool beside Lumi and sat down like he was part of the meeting. Lion remained at Noah's feet, purring softly. Sometimes, Lumi said, a thing feels like a monster because the night makes it larger. Noah listened without blinking. A shadow can look like a crouching shape. A coat can look like a creature. A creak can sound like breathing. And a worried mind can add extra scary parts all by itself. Noah swallowed. That happens too. Lumi nodded. I thought it might. She reached for a piece of paper and a pencil. Can you draw where the monster is? Noah hesitated. Then he nodded. He took the pencil. Very slowly, he drew a bed. Under it, he drew a dark shape with round eyes. Auntie Mira watched quietly. When he finished, he handed the drawing to Lumi. Lumi looked at it carefully. Then she asked, Do you know what I notice? Noah shook his head. The monster is always under the bed, Lumi said. But you are always above it. Noah frowned, thinking. Lumi continued, That means your bed is already a safe place. The hard part is not the whole room. The hard part is the trip. Noah looked at the picture again. The trip, he whispered. Yes. That seemed to matter to him. Because sometimes when a fear is everywhere, it feels impossible. But when it has a shape and a place and a path, it becomes something you can work with. Lumi set the drawing down. So we will not try to do everything all at once. Noah looked up. We won't. No, said Lumi. We will make a tiny bravery ladder. A ladder? A ladder made of steps, Lumi said. Small ones. Noah liked this idea enough to uncurl slightly in his chair. What steps? Lumi counted on her fingers. First step, before bed. You and Auntie Mira look under the bed together with the lantern. Noah nodded slowly. Second step, the moon path ribbon goes on the floor so you can see the way. Another nod. Third step, the night step light goes on low beside the bed. Noah held the silver pebble very carefully now. Fourth step, if you wake up and feel scared, you hold the pebble and say the night sentence. Noah whispered the words from memory. The floor is just the floor. The dark is only dark. My feet can take me safely. Lumi smiled. Exactly. And fifth step? Noah asked. Fifth step, said Lumi, is not going alone the first few times. You call Auntie Mira or whoever is helping you at night, and the two of you use the path together. Noah looked relieved so quickly that Lumi knew the idea of not doing it alone had mattered very much. I can call Auntie Mira. Auntie Mira answered before Lumi could. Of course you can. Noah turned to look at her fully for the first time. Even if it's the middle of the night, Auntie Mira tucked a lock of hair behind his ear. Especially then. Noah's face crumpled a little. Not with sadness, with relief. Sometimes relief looked very close to tears. I thought I was making too much trouble, he whispered. Auntie Mira's eyes filled right away. Oh, Noah, she said, her voice full of love. You are never too much trouble. Lumi looked away politely for a second, giving that sentence space to land where it needed to land. Lion, perhaps deciding the moment required extra support, climbed into Noah's lap all at once. Noah gave a surprised little sound, then wrapped both arms around the soft golden cat. Lion purred with such determination that the entire shop seemed to hum. After a moment, Noah said very quietly into Lion's fur, What if I still have an accident? Lumi answered gently, Then it means you are still learning. Noah lifted his face. It doesn't mean I'm bad. No, Lumi said at once. It means night fear is still big, and we are making it smaller. Noah thought about that. So, the accident is not the monster winning forever? Lumi's eyes softened. No, she said. Not at all. It just means the plan needs more practice, more help, and more gentleness. Auntie Mira nodded, as if that sentence had helped her too. Lumi stood again and went to a drawer behind the counter. From it, she took out a tiny square tin painted with little stars. When she returned, she placed it in front of Noah. What's that? He asked. This, Lumi said, is a dry mourning box. Noah blinked. A what? A dry mourning box, Lumi repeated, opening it. Inside were little paper stars, a folded mourning card, and a tiny gold sticker shaped like a sun. Noah leaned closer. What does it do? It helps you notice practice, not just mistakes, Lumi said. She held up one of the paper stars. For every night you do one brave step, you may put a star on the mourning card. Noah listened closely. Not only if the whole night is perfect, Lumi added, just for doing one brave thing. Like what? Like checking under the bed, Lumi said, or using the pebble, or calling Auntie Mira, or taking even one step onto the moon path ribbon. Noah's eyes widened again. That counts? Yes, said Lumi firmly. Little bravery absolutely counts. Auntie Mira smiled, and this time it was the kind of smile grown-ups give when they have just been handed something they didn't know they needed. That is wonderful, she said softly. Lumi handed Noah the tiny sun sticker. And when a whole dry morning comes, she said, the sun goes on the card. Noah held it like treasure. He was very quiet now. But it was a different quiet, less hidden, more thoughtful. After a while, he asked, "Can monsters get smaller?" Lumi smiled. "Oh yes, they can?" "Yes," she said. "Sometimes they shrink when you look at them in lamplight. Sometimes they shrink when you tell the true thing out loud. Sometimes they shrink when a grown-up helps. And sometimes they shrink one tiny brave step at a time." Noah nodded. He seemed to be storing every word carefully, as if he planned to take them home and put them beside his bed too. Lumi wrapped the moon path ribbon around a small card. She tucked in the night step light, then the bedside brave pouch, then the dry morning box. She tied everything together in a soft gray cloth bundle with a pale blue ribbon. When she placed it in Noah's hands, he held it with both arms, not like a shopping bundle, like a plan, like hope you could carry. "I don't have money," he said after a moment, looking worried. Lumi shook her head gently. "Tonight, you may pay another way." Noah looked up. "How?" "With a promise." Noah waited. "The promise," Lumi said, "is that you will not call yourself babyish for being scared." Noah's face changed. That was not the promise he had expected. He looked down, then up again. "That's hard." "I know," Lumi said, "but it matters." Noah thought for a long time. Then he nodded. "I can try. That is a very strong promise." Auntie Mira reached over and squeezed his shoulder. "And I can help remind you," she said. Noah nodded. Then, softly, as if trying out a new sentence, he said, "I'm frightened, not babyish." Lumi smiled warmly. "Yes." Noah repeated it, a little stronger. "I'm frightened, not babyish." Beast blinked from the stool, as if he approved very much. Outside, the sky had deepened fully now. Night had arrived. The shop window glowed against the darkness. Noah looked toward it, then back at the bundle in his lap, then at Lumi. "What if tonight is still hard?" Lumi answered honestly, "It may be." Noah's mouth tightened for a moment, but then she continued, "Hard nights are not failed nights. They are practice nights." Noah listened. "And every practice night," Lumi said, teaches your feet and your heart a little more." Auntie Mira gave a quiet breath of relief. That sentence seemed to settle over both of them like a blanket. At the door, Noah stood holding the bundle carefully. Lion had to be gently lifted from his lap. Beast walked with them all the way to the mat because he clearly considered this an official departure. Noah looked down at both cats. "Thank you, Beast." Beast gave a very dignified blink. "Thank you, Lion." Lion yawned hugely and leaned into Noah's leg. Then Noah looked up at Lumi. "If I do one brave step tonight," he said, "can I come tell you?" Lumi's whole face warmed. "I would love that." Noah nodded. Then he and Auntie Mira stepped out into the dark blue evening together. The bell rang softly behind them. Ting. Lumi stood in the warm shop for a while after they left. She looked at the door, then at the little moon lanterns, then at Beast and Lion. "Some fears," she whispered, "are very small in daylight and very big at night." Beast leapt back up to the window. Lion circled twice before flopping onto the cushion again. The kettle had gone quiet, so Lumi made herself a cup of lavender milk tea and sat by the lamp. She found herself thinking of Noah, of the silver pebble in his hand, of the careful, embarrassed way he had said mistakes, of the sentence he had tried out at the end. "I'm frightened, not babyish." That mattered. That mattered very much, because sometimes kindness had to come before bravery. And sometimes the first safe path through the dark was not the one on the floor. It was the one inside your own heart. The next evening, just as Lumi was straightening a row of star candles, the bell rang again. Ting. She turned quickly. It was Noah. And this time, he was not hiding behind Auntie Mira. He still looked a little shy, but his face was brighter. In one hand, he carried the gray bundle. In the other, he held up something carefully. A little paper star. Lumi smiled at once. "You did a brave step." Noah nodded, and his eyes shone. "I did 3. Lumi put a hand over her heart. 3. Noah came in, almost bouncing now. "We checked under the bed," he said. 1. And the moon path ribbon glowed. 2. And I used the pebble and called Auntie Mira. 3, Lumi said softly. Noah nodded. "I still didn't want to go by myself," he admitted. "That's all right." "But I went with Auntie Mira." Lumi smiled. "That absolutely counts." Noah held out the paper star. "I wanted to show you." Lumi took it like it was the finest magical jewel in the city. "It's beautiful." Noah beamed. Auntie Mira, standing behind him, looked tired still, but lighter too. "There was no miracle all at once," she said quietly. Lumi nodded. There usually isn't. But there was less panic, Auntie Mira said, and much less shame. Lumi's eyes softened. That was a kind of miracle, too. Noah looked down at Beast and Lion, who had already come to greet him. And, he added carefully, the monster looked smaller with the lantern. Lumi smiled. I thought it might. Noah nodded. It was mostly my blanket hanging down. Lumi tried not to laugh too hard because this was important. Ah, she said solemnly. A very suspicious blanket. Noah giggled. A real giggle this time. One that filled the whole shop with warmth. Yes, he said. Very suspicious. Later that night, after the shop was closed and the city had gone soft and dark, Lumi sat upstairs by the round window. Beast was curled by her feet. Lion slept in a golden heap beside her blanket. Below, the shop glowed gently. And somewhere in the city, a little ribbon marked a safe path across a bedroom floor. A warm night light waited by a bedside. A silver pebble rested in a small hand, and a child who had felt full of fear and shame was learning slowly, softly, bravely. The floor is just the floor. The dark is only dark. My feet can take me safely. Lumi looked out at the quiet rooftops and whispered a blessing into the night. For children who fear the dark, for grown-ups who wake to help, for little feet, for dry mornings, for frightened hearts that are learning not to hide. Then she blew out the candle beside her bed, and the city night held its gentle hush. Thank you for joining me tonight, little dreamer. I hope this story brought a little warmth to your heart, a little calm to your mind, and a little magic to your night. Now it is time to rest. You did your best today. That is enough. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. You are safe here. So close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let yourself drift into a gentle, peaceful sleep. Sweet dreams, little dreamer. And I'll see you next time at Dream Desk Bedtime Stories. Good night.